I've been with no sleep for like 5 days. Living this life just for Friday. I don't like rules, I do it my way. Everywhere I go they say my name. 605 crypto, 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 605 crypto.
We love green.
And welcome back to another 605 Crypto. This is Travis B. And looking at the charts, we've been kind of moving sideways for the last couple days, since the last show at least. Bitcoin hanging in there right around 44,000. XRP still holding that number 6 spot, market cap wise, above Cardano and Solana. That's great. And look, if we really take a look at the charts here, there's 2 stable coins above it. I don't really count the stable coins. They're stable coins. So if we take number 5 and number 3 off there, look at this. We got Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, and XRP. 83 cents, still a steal. Load up while you can. Over at newsbtc.com, regulators can shut down Bitcoin anytime, according to a Bloomberg editor. So apparently, according to Bloomberg Digital's executive editor, Joe Weisenthal, they can shut it down at any time. I mean, I kind of thought China could shut the whole show down at any time. With the amount of Bitcoin mining that China controls, if they just pulled the plug all at once, I know that they say that they're going to ban it all the time. That's all make-believe. They're still mining over there. Russia, they're still mining too. They're mining a lot. So if they all decided to just pull the plug, the whole Bitcoin network would go down. I mean, I got news for you. The regulators ain't the only ones that can shut it down. But if we take a look at this article, you should go ahead and take a look at it. It's pretty informative. They're trying to build a lot of negative news around crypto because they want to welcome regulation. You see, this guy works for Bloomberg. We know where they kind of stand. They're for the old financial institutions, okay? They want the status quo to continue. So they want to come up with this FUD, if you will, scare people so we can welcome regulation. He thinks Bitcoin has one critical use case: to facilitate trades that the government and regulators, or the man, do not want anyone to make. That makes cryptocurrency an ideal tool designed to serve criminals, and criminals only. Creating new markets to inject more into Bitcoin, therefore, would increase the number of financial crimes. So one way or another, an average law enforcement agency would attempt to get rid of Bitcoin once and all. Has this guy seen what they're proposing? Actually, what the law is now? The government, our government, for regular people, not criminals, they're going to report any transaction we do on an app that's over $600. With inflation at 7.5%, $600 ain't a lot of money these days. I mean, it's not. So if the government is going to take a microscope and look at every single transaction that its law-abiding citizens are conducting, maybe it's not just the criminals that want to hide what they're doing from the man. Just saying. Take a look at this article, newsbtc.com. Link will be in the description. In the world of politics, over at nationalreview.com, and look, this is not a political channel, but we're going to go there when we need to follow crypto. So bear with me a moment. No matter what side of the political spectrum you're on, I just need to paint a picture here for you. Okay, we saw breaking this weekend John Durham's jaw-dropping revelation. In a court submission last week, Durham alleged that a tech executive who was supposed to be helping the government combat cyber threats used his privileged access to internet data, specifically the domain name system, or DNS, traffic between servers, to mine contacts between Russia and facilities connected to Donald Trump. The information, Durham says, was taken out of context and distorted to suggest that Trump might be a clandestine agent of Vladimir Putin's regime. Alarmingly, some of the internet traffic mined in early 2017 was generated by the executive office of the president, the White House. That is, the tech executive, who had been identified as Rodney Jaffe, was monitoring then-President Trump, trying to portray him as Putin's mole. Okay, so this is from the Durham report. Okay, you remember back in the early days of the Trump presidency, he came out and said Trump Tower was wiretapped. The media came out immediately in full force and said, Oh, they don't even tap wires anymore. You weren't being wiretapped. Well, this article is starting to provide information that President Trump was right the whole time. Now, bear with me here. The reason I'm telling you about this, Hillary Clinton was paying people to spy on the sitting president in 2017 here, right? And during her campaign. Well, if we check in over at procoinnews.com, breaking, SEC Chief Gary Gensler was Hillary's campaign CFO during Russiagate payments. Oh boy. Gary, you really stepped in at this. Actually, you stepped in it years ago, and you're continuing to step in it. But over here at ProCoin News, the revolving door of Wall Street government can lead to some lucrative opportunities if you're in the club. But as we're learning, it can also put you in some very compromising situations. Gary, can you hear us? We're coming for you, brother. Take a look at this article. The mainstream media is really ignoring this story. Of course, they're going to ignore anything that makes their dear Hillary Clinton look like she did anything wrong, or the simple fact that it might prove President Trump was right all along. They couldn't live with that, so they're not going to cover any of this stuff. Take a look at the article. It's interesting now that the guy that's front and center of this SEC lawsuit against Ripple and XRP is Mr. Gary Gensler, who was also the chief financial officer making these payments during Hillary Clinton's campaign. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, this is not a political channel, but I thought this was news that you're not going to hear anywhere else that people should know. Let's take a step back and look at the big picture, people. Checking in over on the Twitter, Golden Key. Give him a follow. Everything is kicking off at once. U.S. Pluto Return will bring in world-changing events. A new world awaits. Buckle the F up. All right, now you're thinking, all right, Pluto, why are we talking about that? We're talking about politics, now we're talking about Pluto. I don't know. Look, I've told you about the Ripple Riddlers bringing up strange coincidences with astrology and dates. So if we take a look at this article here in this feed over at bustle.com, all of your questions on the Pluto return in the U.S. answered. Nothing says cosmic rebirth like the enigmatic Pluto, the power-hungry dwarf planet that symbolizes transformation and renewal. According to the stars, the United States is finally getting a spiritual makeover with its first ever Pluto return on February 22nd, 2022. Okay, folks, that's 2/22/2022. All right, that's got to mean something. I mean, in for the gods and in astrology. I'm not sure, but all those twos, I don't know. Astrologically, a Pluto return is when a heavenly body returns to the same position in a birth chart where it was when the chart began. It happens around every 248 years, meaning this is the Pluto return in the United States since the country was founded in 1776. All right, again, folks, think about that. Think about the gravity of that fact. All right, this is the first time that this is happening since the country was founded in 1776. All right, looking back over here, we got this going on. We got this going on. We got regulators saying they can shut things down. Okay, and we're getting ready to maybe have a rebirth. I don't know. Maybe this is a good thing. Now, again, this is all astrologically thinking. This is related to the Ripple Riddlers that I've mentioned before, light to dark. If you're a fan of Baba Cugs on there on the Twitter, and, I follow him. I got to tell you, I follow him. I'm waiting for him to be wrong myself. Checking in further down in this article, modern astrology often prescribes working with Pluto for shadow work and personal transformation for individuals, says DeFranco, who must be an astrologist. For nations, countries, and empires, the sign, house placement, and aspects to Pluto in the national chart will relate to power, secrets, cover-ups, generational pathologies, and even what type of subjects are okay to talk about versus what is deemed as taboo. I mean, there's a lot of that going on now, folks, too. This is a pretty interesting read. If you're into the astrological stuff, take a look at it. The Riddlers, they've been right on the money a lot in the past. No, we're not all sitting in Lamborghinis yet, but look, I'm waiting for Baba to be wrong myself here, okay? And the Riddlers are always talking about the lunar cycles. Well, here you go. This looks like one hell of a planetary cycle. This might not be a lunar cycle, but, you know, this is happening on the 2/22/2022, first time since 1776. I mean, there's got to be something going on here. So just keep your eyes open. Make sure you got crypto, because when everything takes off, you're going to be too late to the game if you're not already holding a bag. Success comes when you do all the things you need to do on the days you don't feel like doing them. There's going to be days that come where you don't want to do anything. That's where discipline comes in. Okay? Because if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards. So those days that come along where you don't want to do it and you feel like you just need to stay under those covers, those are the days you need to get after it extra hard. So get out there, work towards your dreams, invest in yourself, and make it happen. Thanks for joining us today. If you made it this far, give us a like and a subscribe. Tell a friend about the show. This is Travis B with 605 Crypto. We'll catch you next time.
I've been with no sleep for like 5 days, living this life just for Friday. I don't like rules, I do it my way. Everywhere I go, they say my name. 605 Crypto, 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 605 Crypto.
We love green.